All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Owarimonogatari, Episode 2. Okay, y'all.
Taking a trip into the past.
The day of reckoning has come.
Yep.
Wow. We are going to learn a lot about Araragi and potentially some stuff about Ogi. Because Ogi was the kind of the intro bit for this whole kind of upcoming arc here.
Yeah, we jumped back in time twice to when Ogi met Araragi, and then from there jumped back further to this whole situation with Araragi and the previous class president, Oikura Sodachi. Yeah.
So what happened back then? What in some ways will be the thematic symbolism of majority rules and how our singular boy is kind of up against, in some ways, a majority.
Yeah, and how it went from him not having friends to him not wanting friends, or not believing he needed friends.
But this has to happen. In some ways, Ogi is like, okay, let's do this. This is something that needs to happen here. So Araragi, let's get inside that head of yours. So without further ado, y'all, let's get into this. All right, everyone, we're going to be starting the episode in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so these are other names of the students.
Right.
Okay. So I'm guessing those are the 19 that were left.
Yeah.
Hashiri. Yeah. Okay, cool. Oh.
Right.
Yep. Whoa.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
Sure.
Whoa. Yeah. Oh. Really?
Cool. Okay, yeah.
Right. Makes sense.
Oh, you did.
But it still had a conclusion, though. Well, maybe not.
Yeah, because I was going to say, if he didn't have any friends, could they really...
Oh.
Okay.
Wait. Ooh. Okay.
Because one of the things I've been wondering is, how would Araragi get to the point where he thinks he doesn't need friends if he didn't have any friends to start with? Where would, like it would seem like there would, like, to me that would come from a place of betrayal, unless maybe it came from somewhere on the inside of him.
Yeah, I think it came from the inside of him for sure. Because he said he lost his moral compass, and the idea that it's not that they didn't know who it was, who the culprit was, but it's that we didn't find them. Meaning that they weren't revealed to the class. But one of the things that's very interesting about saying we is that Araragi isn't a we, really. Like, think about it. He's the singular person that's the arbiter, the moderator, trying to figure everything out. So he's trying to be like, I am trying to solve a mystery here with all of you. We collectively together, if we found the culprit, would reveal them to everyone. So it's like saying he knows who it was, but it wasn't revealed who the culprit was.
Right.
Meaning that some aspect of solving who it was then became a thing of where he's like, we're all going to agree basically to like end this. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if it was Oiker or something, and because she was the class president, then, you know, or the student council president.
Yeah. Majority rules. So I think they basically overrule Araragi. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh. Oh my God. Wow.
Oh,
chaos. Yeah. Yeah. It's weird though, because Senjigahara wasn't there on the list.
Maybe because she didn't go to the, or she wasn't in one of the people that got the 20% better.
No, but they left. They kicked out all the other people then. So how would they ask Senjigahara if she wasn't in the room? Oh, I'm getting stressed. Just this cannot continue. Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah, she really doesn't like him for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the majority rules. Now he's in prison here.
Yeah.
Oh. Yep. Mutiny. Here we go.
Wow.
Ugh.
Oh, jeez.
Yep. Majority rules. Here we go. That's just... Oh. Wow. random person. Oh! 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 Whoa!
Wow.
Oh, crap!
Wow.
Whoa! Wow! Dang, okay.
I see.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh, buddy. Yeah.
Right.
Ugh. Wow. Okay. The way it was so impersonal and just cold, in which someone was basically killed in a weird way. But yeah.
But not after that.
Oh. Oh. Oh, that's... Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Groups are evil.
Yeah. Mob mentality.
Wow.
Now it looks like she doesn't even have arms, much less hands.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. Oh.
And this is how Araragi can kind of finally settle it within himself.
Yeah. If anything, you haven't forgiven yourself, probably.
Right. It's your memory of her grudge.
Yep. Yep. Regret. Yeah. Shame. I hope that's what it is. That was a cool shadow. Oh. Oh, wait. Wait. is this something where Araragi is going to convince himself that he was the culprit?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, the only way he would know
right.
that is if it was him.
Right.
But
whether it
that's
actually
true
was him
or
or
not.
whether he
Right.
blamed himself for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he doesn't have any... Yeah, this is more and more evidence of... Oh, now we're back to here. Okay. Oh my god.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. Oh.
All right.
Whoa. Oh, with all the stuff on it. Okay. Yeah, just to help her class, maybe?
Oh.
Yeah.
Sure.
Dang.
Wow.
Okay.
Damn.
Whoa.
And that's how you have it be someone that hasn't been established as a character before, is someone that you know must be there, the teacher. Okay.
Whoa. The time still hasn't moved, though. Yeah, in myth, yeah. Hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's my motive?
Oh.
Oh. Wait, did they just exchange something there? It looked like their mouths were moving. Wait.
Did the teacher raise the hand first?
Oh,
that bastard. Or, wait. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's dirty.
Whoa.
Wow.
Holy crap. Hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Wow. Wait.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Huh? Oikura!
Oh, boy. Oh boy.
But you shouldn't come in here.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Right when he...
Wow. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
shoot.
All right. Huh.
Whoa. This just got really, like, freaky because it's... Oh, that's a... Oh. Oh. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. I mean...
Okay, so... It feels a bit too easy.
Well, which part?
But just the conclusion that came to it. Like...
Oh.
The solving of it.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, I like it. I'm just now like, well, wait. Then this is like the thing that kickstarts, just like the story going forward here, but like is it
the way
going to be the story between Araragi and Oikura? Like,
right, because you would think that it would be something where the classroom is where it gets solved, but that's actually more of just the opening of the problem to be solved.
Yes, the problem is that Oikura was
executed.
Yeah, by majority rule. Whoo. Okay, all right. We got ourselves almost a conclusion to the classroom mystery, but not the actual problem of what went down in the past.
And what is going to happen as a result of it.
Yeah. This situation was definitely forced upon by Ogi. Like, this was definitely one forced upon by Ogi. Right. Ogi not only, wanted this to happen specifically, there's an aspect of this that Araragi wasn't necessarily as much wanting it to happen. Yeah. So it's more evidence of the fact that Ogi is a part of this whole thing and very closely tied to Araragi. Right. In a disturbing kind of way.
Yeah, it's interesting because the way they did this mystery, I was kind of wondering, okay, how are they gonna solve a mystery where there's a bunch of classmates if it doesn't have something to do with Oikura, because she's the one character that was introduced. Right. But then, once you get into motive, basically, okay, cool, what motives could there be? You eliminate the whole class, it's actually the teacher, and the teacher is, even if we don't know them as a character, they are still a figure in the classroom, everything. And
there's a lot of suppositions that we can just accept because we know what a teacher's role is.
Exactly.
Primarily.
Yeah. Yep. And that it pretty much stayed in line with that role of wanting the class to do better, and that's how the motivation came in. Mm-hmm. But then the fact that Ogi is also doing this, it then says, okay, well, if it's all about motivation, then maybe the fact that Ogi is doing this says something about their specific motivation here and how that ties to Araragi. But
with the fact that we figured out, okay, it was the teacher. They not only cheated and broke the rules, essentially, they also seemed to take advantage of a situation that they were just trying to reward the students for their studying efforts in a way. Now, what I think is rather interesting is that I don't think Araragi, even at that point, really felt like there was something completely wrong with the teacher. Again, he said that the thing that broke him and actually made him the most angry about this was the conclusion. Right. Meaning that in some ways, I think he kind of saw from the perspective what the teacher was trying to do. It made the test a lot easier.
And if anything, Araragi would be one of the people, other than maybe the people that weren't in the actual study group. Right. In some ways, he wouldn't mind because it doesn't change anything. He got a perfect score. Right. But then at the same time, the one time he got a perfect score, that kind of sucks that,
Well, the one time?
Well, maybe he had gotten perfect scores before then, but whatever. Sure. But he got a perfect score. That's a big deal, right? Mm-hmm. So the idea that other students did better only in the sense that, the margin between his score and their scores isn't as high, but it doesn't really change anything for him, right?
Yeah. But the idea that the teacher specifically joined in on the Oikura execution train
and started it.
Well, no. There was no necessarily thing about all the other students raising their hands because the teacher, raised her hand. All we know is that she just immediately quickly raised it. Right.
Yes. Yeah. Without hesitation and all that stuff. Yeah.
Right.
So,
but the way that Araragi put it was that there was no collaboration or communication or any kind of thing like that. It was a simultaneous, thing with that.
Okay.
If anything, I would say that maybe it is a little bit suspect in that regard because they're raising hands and they're not anonymously submitting.
Right. I figured what it might have been is that because the teacher raised their hand, because they wouldn't necessarily all raise their hand at the exact same time, especially if it was the majority of the class, right?
Yeah, I just feel like that's a little bit.
Yeah, that wasn't explicitly stated.
That's not explicitly stated. Yeah, and I think if anything, they made a point of showcasing that the teacher was in the back of the class. The teacher was in a in a chair that was in the back, so there wouldn't be people like turning around looking specifically.
Sure.
So maybe there were people that were doing this, like who's going to raise hands for which one.
Right, but either way, it's something where even there's the idea that the teacher does benefit by Oikura basically being thrown under the bus.
Yep.
Because Oikura was the one that was saying, no one's leaving until we figure this out. We're going to figure this out, right? And that's something where it's like, oh, that could be bad for the teacher because
she called the meeting. Yeah. Oikura called the meeting.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. But the idea that basically Oikura is the one that would actually, because of the fact that she always wants to beat Araragi, right?
Right.
She would be very dogged in getting to the bottom of what happened, and the teacher doesn't want that to be found out. So therefore, Yep.
Right. I think the other thing that's good to bring up is that Oikura, I feel like, was the target of the ire. Mm-hmm. Not because she was consistent, actually, in saying that we're going to be here until this whole thing is resolved. She was the one that called the vote, too. Meaning that Oikura changed her whole stance on things there and basically was like, fine, we'll let majority rule and vote on who the culprit is.
Sure.
So there had already been a few hours of discussion, according to the narration of sorts, the exposition.
Right.
But I do find it still rather disturbing in a lot of ways that the teacher even voted. Like,
oh yeah,
like there's an aspect of this, I think, that we might end up getting into with if Oikura and Araragi kind of have to revisit it again together.
And that's like, probably what's going to happen.
That'd probably be a cool thing to have happen, is that when this whole thing happened, the teacher being there and not being the one leading the dynamic there feels off. Just feels off on so many levels.
Yep.
The fact that they are responsible in a lot of ways for teaching the students, and now we are in a situation where the teacher is basically sitting in the back,
right,
just kind of going, and fine, I will let this continue.
And from the most positive angle that I could see it, Oikura was the class president, so or class or student council president, I can't remember, but but so there could be the idea of she's taking responsibility because she is the one that is in the position of responsibility. Therefore, it's sort of like a letting the students delegating and letting the students figure it out, right? But considering that the teacher was the one who did it, it's like that's
right. So not only does this whole thing happen in such a way where the teacher ends up being the villain in this kind of the simplest sense here, but Oikura suffers for it potentially. We don't know to the extent how much she went through within this. Now, we're going to find out in the next episode, probably. We're going to find out the state Oikura is in after having spent 2 years. Why did she come back now? What had been her time spent with them? Yeah, what was the actual emotional result?
Not the literal result of she stops coming to school and everything.
We have had no perspective on her since the end of the classroom incident.
Right.
So we need to know what that is.
Yep.
And when we find out to the extent of what that is, that will tell us a lot of how Araragi's perspective on the past situation changes, adjusts, if anything. But yeah, I'm angry at the teacher. Like that's the kind of thing where I understand Araragi's frustration here.
Yep.
There is this really unnerving aspect about the mob mentality, which is when you discuss truth specifically. Truth is a word that has definitions, meaning empirical, this is what it means.
Yep.
Now, truth, when you get to define what is truth, it's like saying, like what they said in the first episode, Ogi is Ogi, truth is truth.
Right.
The equation is the equation. It's immutable. It is what it is. However, what we saw here was something that broke that aspect of things. And that is that, no, actually, in a lot of ways, we end up with that mentality of if enough people say it, it must be true. If enough people agree on a specific thing, then it's justice.
And
that's really disturbing.
Oh, that is super disturbing. Yeah. And one of the things that I like, especially if the teacher, since they were sitting in the back, didn't influence sort of the votes of the rest of the class.
Right.
One of the things that you could say is that maybe the reason why the class all sort of unconsciously voted for Oikura, not taking into account the fact of though we're going to stay here till we fix this, right? So they might have been a little bit testy with her of like, oh, come on, you know, like what? Why do we have to put up with this? Something beyond that.
Okay, cool. Because that's the main thing I would say. Well, that's obvious,
right?
Yeah.
But then there's also the idea that she actively said, all right, we're putting it to a vote now, right?
Oh, who gave you the authority?
Who gave you the authority? And that basically she's saying, now we're just going to decide who it is, right?
Yep.
Something that is definitely not based on actually finding out who, right? Because and then maybe then that's sort of a majority rule backlash, especially since one person voted for Araragi. Now I don't know what order Araragi was in the vote.
Well, we know it was Oikura.
No, right. Yeah. No. Yeah. But if assuming that so once the voting got to Oikura, it probably would have stopped because they all determined that Oikura was the one that did it, right? They might have continued through, but basically that it could have been something where people saw that because she hated Araragi, she specifically was trying to throw Araragi under the bus by voting for Araragi as being the culprit, right?
Oh my god.
That clearly didn't have anything to do with the actual issues, right? So and then maybe that's something where then this is it became something where they were like, oh, you're trying to use this for your own advantage or whatever, like your vote clearly was just because you were frustrated at him,
right?
We all vote for you, you know.
Sure. I think what's really genius about this is that we know the vote results for, at the very least, Araragi and Oikura. I think they said, what was it? They said that like she was there was a number that was given. Trying to remember. It was in the beginning. Do you remember what it was? Was it like how many votes she got, or?
Well, there was the 19 people in the situation, right? But as for how the votes spread out, Here
we go. I trust a large section of the class. It was you who voted for me. Suspect number 6 collected the most votes. Gotcha. So she was number 6, meaning that they did probably go in a specific order. These are the suspects. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then when they got to 6, Oikura got the most votes, which means that there were 5 other people that were getting the most.
Right.
Like
minimum 5 other people.
Yeah, minimum. Well, here's the thing. I think that's actually like you're getting on a point here is really disturbing. Is that Araragi didn't really tell us detailed information about how the voting went down. So you're right in that they could have had a votes raised, raised hands publicly. Everyone's doing this here. So you're getting to see how people are voting for it. And there's a lot of people that might be in this situation where they're like, I'm just not voting. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. But like there's so many things that could have gone wrong, and they just didn't tell us exactly how it went down because either Araragi is maybe ashamed of how it went down, or that whole process is one that's not really important to the plot because they're going to be getting into more Oikura's heart and her emotional situation. Right.
Because she's being brought back into the story, we could get more into any relevant details, certainly from her perspective of how things went down. Yeah. And what happened after that. But oh man, this is just all kinds of
screwed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. With Araragi being the one who manifested this aberration, this classroom specifically here, and yet Ogi is very clearly like the one with the motive for being here. Like Araragi kind of wanted to forget this in a lot of ways. Right. He avoided specifically talking about the fact that the teacher was there.
Yep.
He was dancing around the truth in a way that you could see as like, yeah, it builds tension for the audience, but no. Let's insert this into the story and look at the characters specifically. Araragi doesn't like looking back at this.
Right. He doesn't want to deal with this.
He doesn't want to deal with this. Why is it that Ogi wanted him to deal with this?
Especially when Ogi did not know Araragi before this point, right? Ogi introduced themselves with, "Oh yeah, what a coincidence! Oh okay, yeah, I'm the niece of Meme, yeah." Oh cool, yeah. Let's I want to check something with you, right? Like
I am yeah. I'll just say, Ogi, whatever Ogi is / represents, there is an aspect of Araragi's past specifically that I still feel like has not been brought up yet, in that this is, Ogi formula. We are figuring out the classroom incident, which will lead to the Oikura interaction of sorts that's going to happen here farther into the future, past, present. Well, now, you had a thing you wanted to bring up regarding this.
So,
and then we'll get back to what
there was something that I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Hanakawa shows up.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love to see Hanakawa.
Right.
She didn't have white hair.
Yeah.
Now, so this takes place specifically after the Tsubasa Tiger arc, right?
Where she gets
the white hair.
The hair exchange.
And in Hitagi End, we see her and she has white hair.
Right.
Here, this is in between those two arcs and she doesn't have the white hair. Now, they've been jumping around timeline-wise a bunch, so maybe this is another jump in timeline, more to around the Nisei time of things. But that makes me wonder, because it seemed like Araragi was going from immediately after checking on like the classroom and things like that. Ogi said there was a thing. Nope, it's not actually there. Yeah, that's bizarre. To Hanakawa showing up. And I can't. And based on whether Oikura was the class rep or class president versus the student council president, that also is something that's interesting, because I believe she was the student council president, which is interesting given that Hanakawa ends up being the student council president after her. So, it's another one of those connections there. So the fact that Hanakawa is specifically like, oh, this person's back, that seems like it has more meaning potentially.
Right. So we'll have to be kind of aware and look into that for what comes in the next episode. But with Ogi kind of deduced everything flawlessly.
Yep.
I think that there's one of two or both in some ways, almost more symbolically, kind of things going on here. Ogi is Ogi is its own aberration, aspect of the darkness, aspect of Araragi's like pain or anguish or what have you, a representation of some aspect of what happened in the past.
Yeah.
Because of the constant thing of, oh yeah, I'm the first year Araragi senpai. I felt like, okay, now maybe if we had an Oikura type character, which we did end up getting, that there might be another character in the classroom that's like Ogi, that's like actually Ogi, and it's this fusion abomination of Araragi's like pain and sadness and depression and what have you, and then some person that was from his past or what have you fused into this mess that is basically tormenting him in this case here, because it very much has this ghost of Christmas past thing. And yet now that we're jumping back into the present, potentially, not necessarily, maybe kind of the past still in some ways.
One of the things that I'm kind of wondering about, given that we established with Yotsugi in the previous arc that yes, Ogi is the big bad, right?
Right.
What does that mean if she's the big bad? What is the relevance specifically to Araragi, since this is Araragi's story? Right.
Well, probably. Okay.
Well, the idea that there would be some reason why Araragi would need to face Ogi over anyone else, right? That it's Araragi's fight specifically.
Yeah, and there's something that kind of constantly is reminded to us about Araragi through the story, is that he is stuck in the past in more ways than one.
Yep.
So Ogi, if Ogi is his future, Ogi is also has to be some part of his past.
Sure. And one of the things that I thought was really interesting here that they established is not just who did it, right? But the fact that they didn't get punished for it. they executed Oikura basically, and they patted themselves on the back by making it so that they could still, so that Oikura could still like have enough attendances and things like that.
Yeah,
and still sort of attend high school. And the fact that Araragi was saying, no, it's not because, it's to make her think that she's a good person, that okay, yeah, that's I'm still helping her out kind of a thing, as opposed to what she did.
What she actually did, yeah.
So
Dang.
there's this aspect of it that makes me think that Ogi is essentially Araragi's frustration, like his anger or his sense of wanting that justice kind of, because Ogi had a bigger beef in this arc than I feel like she's ever had any of the other arcs before, right?
And the other ones, she's way more playful. There's this aspect of Ogi here that feels more raw. There was an aspect of this in Tsukimonogatari. When we saw the bridge scene.
Yeah, there were some specific barbs there.
Yeah, there were some really pointed jabs. And in this case, it feels like Ogi is trying to paint the picture in a direct way of, I'm trying to help you, Araragi senpai, but then the visuals are telling us, no, I am strangling you, I am torturing you, I am grasping onto you, I am tossing you which way in that, I am intimidating you.
Right. And given how Araragi's been up till this point, it's been as a very much like sort of a repressive, like forget about it, like, not deal with it kind of a thing, which to be fair, you can't do forever, right?
You can't.
At some point,
a day of reckoning will come.
Right, a day of reckoning will come. So there's a purpose that Ogi plays in all of this, right? But
which could be good in the end.
Which could be good, but that aspect of Ogi also needs to be accepted and then dealt with, right?
Right.
And that can be maybe what the finale of the story as a whole is, and that's why Ogi is the big bad. Right. It's that last part of Araragi that he needs to face within himself.
Right.
And I think the fact that Oikura is coming back, the fact that the teacher hasn't, he's never going to see the teacher again, Right. And they'll just keep having their career like nothing happened when they turned on one of their students in a horrible, horrible way.
Right. They don't need some kind of punishment. That's not the point of this story. The story is about addressing the fact that they were a part of this and there were residual consequences and pain that was left over from that time.
I think maybe from Araragi there might be some desire for it, and that maybe that's why Ogi exists, is because there's that split, and that in order for Ogi to truly be defeated, that split needs to be reconciled. Because while with the aberrations, there's always a way that they go wrong, where they get too extreme or whatever. There is a purpose that they serve, right? And that purpose needs to be addressed.
At the problem.
Exactly, right. And that problem then needs to be addressed. That in this case, Araragi has sort of witnessed this person do something that they absolutely shouldn't have, and then they got away with it, right? And someone else took the fall for it. And I think that there's, and maybe they won't. Maybe the fact that they haven't actually shown the teacher, Well,
Araragi said, I'll never see her again.
Right.
Yeah.
That could be just them saying that's how it's going to go. You know,
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. But then that just means that they'll have a lot of interesting stuff to get into with Oikura, because
Yeah, she's the new main character, so to speak, for this arc that they bring in kind of in the same way that in previous kind of parts or arcs of Monogatari, what they've done is they've basically taken a specific girl or Araragi, or I guess in some ways Kaiki, and had them basically go on a journey. With regards to some aspect of an aberration. In this one here, the aberration I feel like is kind of front loaded as the classroom. The classroom is an incident that kind of created the aberration that Araragi needs to address this in a metaphysical kind of way. However, the fact that it came about seems to be more related to the actual aberration in the room, the one that's defying all kinds of logic and specific things with regards to her knowledge, and that is Ogi. So hence this is the Ogi formula.
Right.
And in order to understand the end, we need to go back to the beginning.
Yes.
And now we're moving forward already, which is either insanely good, or that means that there's some really tepid waters that are going to be explored with Oikura. And I kind of said that I was like, we don't know her emotional state. We don't know how she's going to respond to seeing Araragi. However, I didn't mention this, but Hanakawa was like, don't come in here. Don't come in here.
Right. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, so my thoughts on
Hanakawa.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting because there's lots of conflict that has not been resolved on both sides for them. So that will need to be dredged up. Now, one thing from a meta perspective, unless they decide to do another Ogi where you introduce a character sort of all of a sudden and then have them be in future arcs, we have a lot of arcs that happen after this, and we haven't seen Oikura. So now, granted, she could continue to go to school, and maybe she just wasn't in the perspective of the stories, right? Because not too many of them focus very heavily on Araragi's school life, you know. But it is one of those things where will Oikura be able to resolve things herself? Will she actually stay at the school then, or will she end up leaving, right? You know, now, given the fact that the teacher is on maternity leave and is going to be gone for the rest of the year, maybe that's why Oikura is back and is intended...
Sure, that's a great point.
Like the conflict might not even be between Araragi and Oikura. Maybe Oikura's hatred of Araragi will kind of be, you know, diffused, forgotten, like Ogi said, you know, she probably doesn't even remember who you are, right? But it might be then that they can commiserate and talk a bit about what happened with that teacher that isn't here right now, you know?
Now, here's the thing that I feel like they're going to get into, and this is the reason why Ogi brought this up. So, is Ogi a friend, ally, / helpful for Araragi? Now, I believe that there's going to be some measure of a happy ending for all of this story. For our boy. Araragi needs that. He needs that eventually. Yes. However, I think the reason why Ogi brought this up is because if, you know, Ogi has this prescient knowledge regarding Araragi's internal state, thoughts, memories, and all kinds of stuff there, then I think Araragi didn't want to remember this place because he blames himself. Now,
because he didn't say anything or maybe something like that.
Right. He was put into a position where he was supposed to be able to, you know, control the unruly mob. He gets it wrested away from him, and she actually does silence everyone. Then she becomes the instrument of her own demise by doing this. But if I was Araragi, trying to put myself into that situation there, and I'm trying to imagine also, based on his character, what he would be like there, I think he would be like, I should have stopped her. I should have said something. And I should statements are some of the most dangerous statements you can say and repeat to yourself in an internal way, because then they don't align with actually who you are.
Right.
So therefore, you end up, what do you know? You said a split. I think a split is a perfect way to do it. There was a visual here that I felt like was amazing. There were a lot of them, but they kept using shadows to put Araragi inside them. But there was one where like the shadow came like down over his face, like it was consuming him in some way. I don't remember exactly where it was, but I think it was after they switched colors into the red and
and the shadow over Ogi's face.
Well, there was that. I'm trying to find the Araragi bit. There was a okay, I'll find it later. But point was that was a thing that happened. And where was I going with this? Help me out here.
The connection between the two of them, the whole idea of the split and Ogi being created, maybe, and
no, dang it. Okay, well, I brain farted. I forgot what I was going to say.
It'll come to you.
Yeah.
One of the things that I thought was the more and more they bring up, like, okay, the fact that in the previous arc we got Yotsugi saying that Ogi is the big bad, right? And then in the very next arc we see the introduction of Ogi and kind of what was it?
Okay, it's okay. Yeah. But the why this whole thing happened, because Araragi didn't want it, so Ogi wanted it. So Ogi was able to basically force this situation on Araragi. And I think the reason why is to bring up those feelings of regret, guilt, shame,
right,
yada yada, really destructive specific emotions there. However, one of the things that's really awkward about this is that while I think this was resolved in that we found out who the culprit is, think about actually what this resolved for Araragi. Nothing. He already knew all this. The only way is it that he's processing it out and he's talking about it?
Well, what I would think is that because he's been avoiding it this whole time, once he actually faces it, then he can do something about it. And that's why I was thinking that maybe there would be something where he would have to like let people know that the teacher did it, but it's so far in the past, and the teacher's gone and all that stuff. Yeah, then maybe it's with Oikura, where he'll actually like talk to Oikura and be like, hey, this is, I mean, you probably figured out that it was the teacher. I figured out that it was the teacher. Right. What do we do from here, kind of a thing.
But here's the thing I think that's really just sickeningly twisted about this potentially. Is that Araragi might already be in the dark. He might already be a bit gone in this regard here. Why does he need to be reminded of something that he already knows about? Say it, come up with it here. Unless he's more admitting something or accepting something here. Okay. Now, I was getting the vibe that they were going to go with the thing of that she was going to convince him that he was the culprit. Now, the culprit in this case can basically just be relegated to Tetsujuo, the teacher. We know that. That's exactly who it is. However, if you're not trying to just solve the mystery, but you're actively trying to stir up something in Araragi, this would be a great way to, especially in the bad timing that Hanakawa just kind of popped in with, this is bad timing, is that this all coincides with him stirring up maybe some guilt, resentment towards himself, some ways that he hasn't forgiven himself for how he handled the situation, right at the time when Oikura shows up. Which, given that they're kind of going with this angle that, Ogi seems to just know so much. Yeah. What if Araragi, and by extension in some ways, Ogi, knew that Oikura was coming back.
Right. And that's why it
gets brought up here. Maybe some subconscious kind of way of like, I heard a rumor or a specific thing. And now this whole
I saw her out of the corner of my eye and didn't realize it, or
Right. And now it's all coming to a head where he is not going to be in the right place to be able to do things properly with Oikura.
Right.
And it's going to get it worse.
Well,
and make it go worse. So that
and the thing is, like, because I totally get that.
It could be so juicy and yet so just
well, and yet the fact that this is here, that it's in the past, but in the story it's towards the end, makes me think that this is something where Araragi does manage to beat it, because he seems to be getting better over the course of the show. There didn't seem to be some crazy relapse that we didn't realize. There was the whole thing with the vampire and all that stuff, but that seemed to be more of just the things that hadn't been fully resolved rather than something new, right?
You could see it is that there's never a singular moment, but there was definitely things where we saw him having good achievements within his relationships and his bonds with his friends and in some ways family. But there has been a theme recently within the context of those close people to him that you need to take care of yourself. So it is probably just that his stamina, if you will, his powers to resist and be cold dead inside throughout this whole thing have run their course, and he no longer has the capacity to hold it in anymore.
Well, and one of the things that we have seen before, like in like Neko, for instance, when we would go back in time a bunch from when we were used to seeing Araragi,
right,
is that he wouldn't have all the tools necessarily in order to deal with certain things,
sure,
because he hadn't gone on that journey yet, right?
Yeah.
So there is a lot of potential for things to go badly here. I hope they don't, but also there was something that I was thinking of. One of the things that is constantly making me wonder, and they might just be red herrings, is if Ogi is some manifestation of some aspect of Araragi, right? You know, the negative emotions inside him or things like that,
right,
that he just sort of doesn't look at and turns off, and that's why there's a split. Then what is it with Sengoku and Tsuruga? Because they have also seen and spoken to Ogi.
Yeah.
But in both of those situations, there was a huge split within Sengoku, right? Because of that whole mess there.
Right.
And also with Tsuruga, which potentially could also be the reason why Ogi's gender changed.
Yeah, it's some aspect of their, it's some aspect of their own struggle being represented as this character as well.
Yep.
And that could be basically the explanation for that, is that, well, yeah, they're dealing with stuff too.
Right.
This is part of their own internal stuff, kind of they're having to deal with as well.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be like, because if Ogi is a manifestation of something that is non-physical, then even if the same character design, but not even the same character design sometimes, is used, that doesn't necessarily mean that it is the same entity, because there isn't actually any crossover in the Ogi from one arc with a different character to the Ogi with another character.
Oh, I wouldn't assume.
Well, okay, there kind of was with Tsuruga.
No, I would say there's definitely some crossover. I think that's why, in some ways, there's a formula to it. There is an actual explanation that is hard math. We'll be able to go 1 + 1 = Ogi. Cool, right. Awesome, and then we'll be able to go, all right, we get it now. But there is that aberration aspect to Ogi, especially in this with what's going on here. Like it's so just right there. And in some ways I have to give like so much credit to the story for doing this, in that Ogi's been just slowly built up just so well over the course of the story, to where I was like, Ogi just gives me the creeps in some weird way. But it wasn't anything where I was getting like hard vibes about something definitive about Ogi's character. So there's that. The thing I was wanting to bring up was that I don't think that things going bad here is meaning that it's going to end badly. But this arc in some ways can go into a darker course before eventually it gets better.
And that's kind of where that's the positive potential purpose of Ogi, is that bringing up this kind of stuff for Araragi is good. He needs to do it eventually. It's tough stuff to do, and and he needs to be careful with it and all that stuff. What?
God, I think it just clicked for me. Something just clicked. One of the things that's been terrifying about Ogi to me is how much Ogi knows. Yeah. Now, one of the things that Ogi is constantly doing is constantly like looking like directly, almost like into Araragi's soul, like the dead eyes, the look and everything. And yet Araragi is in a lot of ways like just as dead inside. There's a part of him that is that vampire. He's stunted. There's this aspect of him where it is like a dark reflection. There is this part of Ogi that you kind of go, oh God, like, but then you kind of see Araragi going through stuff and you're like, well, what if Ogi is actually more complicated than just the dark kind of aspect of Araragi, the aspect of that aberration or what have you, the internal past struggle that needs to be overcome or what have you, but also in some ways the internal like true Araragi in this specific instance here that is actually trying to save him.
Sure, that he's not accepting maybe, and that's why Ogi constantly says you need to save yourself. Right. And also
But that's the thing then. Like Ogi, Araragi, there's the crossover. They're just
Right. Oh. And in all the situations where Ogi has shown up, even with other characters, it was something where there was some aspect of themselves that they weren't accepting.
Right.
And when Araragi shows up in the Tsuruga Devil, he is Zen Master. Right.
Sure.
So that means that he has won the battle kind of within himself,
right?
But that he has come to a level of acceptance, and that was one of the things that he talked about with Tsuruga.
Yes.
So that's yeah.
I feel like in some ways what this arc is going to be about is that this is going to be the end of Araragi as we know him.
Okay.
And in some ways this is the formula. We need to reconcile Ogi and Araragi, meaning reconstitute.
Okay.
Like actually like bring them both together and like unify. Because I think if we look at what Ogi has to be here, Ogi is the problem presenter.
Right.
But if you can only solve this here, like Ogi in some ways has to be part of the solution. Just by bringing up the problem, Ogi is actually like saying, you need to solve this. So Ogi is actually in some ways, probably in some messed up way as well, trying to help Araragi while also being this internal, just absolute total aberration to where I almost can't separate the two in the classroom dynamic here.
I just realized something kind of big.
What's that?
So this isn't actually when we've first seen Ogi chronologically.
Well, of course, this isn't in the past.
No. Like, so when Ogi introduced herself in this arc, right? It was exactly 6 months after the events of Kizu. Right? Which is, and I mentioned that being after Tsubasa Tiger, right?
Yeah.
And it's before Nadeko Medusa. But while Ogi was in Nadeko Medusa, right, that was not actually where we first saw her. Right. We first saw her in Mayoi Jiangshi when it was the whole dealing with the fact that Hachikuji is gone, right?
Passed, yeah.
Now, but that's in a future time.
Yeah,
wait, never mind.
Time, yeah.
Damn it. Yeah.
No, because I think the thing that's always been kind of weird with Ogi is that Ogi just kind of shows up to characters in scenes where we're like, why? And then we come to realize that in some ways there is a formula to this. Ogi is going and manipulating specific characters at certain times, intentionally, indirectly, directly, who knows, but basically it led to conclusions where they had to basically
face some aspect of themselves.
Well, right, in some ways conjure their demons and then face them. However, all those that have, had that happen so far, they're kind of okay now.
Sure. Not necessarily as a result of no. In some cases it didn't go well for a long time.
Yes.
Like,
but I
Sengoku
think that's
being one of them.
But I think that's the picture of what we can expect for Araragi. Is that you need to face your demons. Well, what demons? That thing, that whole past thing, that was something that was the teacher. Well, no, I'm bringing this up. I'm not trying to tell you something you already know, Araragi. I'm trying to make you admit something. Oh, you need to face your demons. The one that's,
in the classroom right now.
Well, you, Araragi,
sure.
You need to face you. You need to face your demons. I'm so excited, y'all. This is ridiculously good. So thank you so much. We have to cut this one here, but thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there, and any level support gets you access to our Discord, where you can chat with us and the community there about this show, about anime in general, and you can talk with Jacob about the sci-fi novel that he wrote.
That's right. I wrote a sci-fi novel, which you totally, you know about it. Battle Lines. It's on Amazon. It's great. Link in the description. Go get it.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.